audience, I cannot tell you how proud I am of you that you're here tonight. We had here sandstorms. We were thinking it would be raining, there would be a thunderstorm, and still you're coming. I'm thanking you very, very much. Yay! Good for you. This is our 12th season. We're Merced Shakespearefest, and we present to you tonight As You Like It, weather and all. A couple of household things. The public bathrooms are behind the theater across the driveway. There are programs out there for you, and yes, there is the wind. We think our drops are very safe, so don't fear for the actors. No, no. We're here to put on a show for you, come rain or shine. Now about As You Like It. This time we're going actually to India, as you heard in the music. And one more thing, if you want to support us, with a donation of $10, you can buy this fantastic tote bag to go grocery shopping that says, "All the world's a stage," famous quote from this very show. Now, without further much ado about nothing, enjoy the show and stay dry. Welcome.
Hey, hey, hey.
By will but pour 1,000 crowns, and as thou sayest, charged my brother on his blessing to breed me well. Eve, there begins my sadness. He keeps me rustically at home, or to speak more properly, stays me here at home unkept. His horses are bred better, but I, his brother, gain nothing under him but growth. This is it, Eve, that grieves me, and the spirit of my father, which I think is within me, begins to mutiny against this servitude. I will no longer endure it.
Yonder comes my master, your brother.
Ah, go apart, Eve, thou shalt hear how he will shake me up.
What make you here, sir?
Nothing! Sir, I am not taught to make anything.
What mar you then?
Mary? Sir, I'm helping you to mar that which God hath made, a poor, unworthy brother of yours with idleness.
Marry, sir, you better employed, and be not a while. Know you where you are?
Very well, sir. Here in your orchard.
Know you before whom, sir?
I know that you are my eldest brother. And in the gentle condition of blood, so should you know me. The courtesy of nations allows you for my better in that you are the firstborn. But that same tradition takes not away my blood. I have as much of my father in me as you.
What, boy?
Come, elder brother, you are too young in this.
Wilt thou lay hands on me, villain?
I am no villain. I am the youngest son of Sir Rowland de Boys. He was my father, and he is thrice the villain that says such fathers begot villains. Oh! Thou hast railed on thyself.
Sweet masters, be patient. For thy father's remembrance be of accord.
Let me go, I say.
I will not till I please. You shall hear me. My father charged you in his will to give me good education, but you have trained me like a peasant, obscuring and hiding from me all gentlemanlike qualities. But the spirit of my father grows strong in me, and I will no longer endure it. Therefore, give me the poor lottery that my father left me by testament. With that, I'll go and buy my fortunes.
And what wilt thou do? Beg when that is spent. Well, sir, get you in. I will no longer be troubled by you. You will have some part of your will. I pray you leave me.
I no further offend you than becomes me for my own good.
And get you with him, you old dog.
Is old dog my reward? Well, most true, I'd lost my teeth in your service. Oh, God be with my old master. He would not have spoke such a word.
Holla, Dennis!
Calls, your worship?
Was not Charles, the Duke's wrestler, here to speak with me?
So place you, he is here at the door, and importunes access to you.
Call him in. This will be a good way. Tomorrow the wrestling is.
Tomorrow, to your worship.
Ah, good Monsieur Charles. Oh, what's the new news at the new court?
There's no news at the court, sir, but the old news. That is, the old Duke is banished by his younger brother, the new Duke, and 3 or 4 loving lords have put themselves into voluntary exile, whose lands and revenues enrich the new Duke, so he gives them good leave to wander.
Can you tell if Rosalind, the Duke's daughter, be banished with her father?
Oh no! For the Duke's daughter, her cousin, being ever from the cradle bred together, so loved her that she would have followed her exile or died to stay behind, right? Yeah. She's at the court, and no less beloved of the Duke than his own daughter, and never 2 ladies loved as they do.
Where will the old Duke live?
They say he is already in the forest of Arden, and a many merry men with him, and there they live like the old Robin Hood of England.
What, tomorrow you wrestle before the new Duke?
Marry do I, sir, and I come to acquaint you with the matter. I am given, sir, secretly, to understand that your younger brother, Orlando, hath the disposition to come in and try a fall against me. Your brother is but young and tender, and for your love I be loath to foil him as I must for my own honor if he come in.
Charles, I thank thee for thy love to me. Therefore, use thy discretion. I had as lief thou didst break his neck as his finger. For I assure thee, there's not one so young and so villainous this day living.
I am heartily glad I came to you. If he comes tomorrow, I'll give him his payment.
Farewell, good Charles. I hope I shall see an end of him. For my soul, yet I not know why, hates nothing more than he. Yet he's gentle, schooled yet never learned, full of noble device of all sorts enchantedly beloved, and so much in the heart of the world of all my own people, who best know that I am altogether misprized. But it shall not be long. This wrestler shall clear all. All that remains now is that I kindle the boy thither, which now I'll go about.
I pray thee, Rosalind, sweet my cuz, be merry.
Dear Celia, I show more mirth than I'm mistress of. And would you yet I were merrier? Unless you can teach me to forget a banished father, you must not learn me to remember any extraordinary pleasure.
Herein I see thou lovest me not with the full weight that I love thee. If my uncle, thy banished father, had banished thy uncle, I could have taught my love to take thy father for mine. So wouldst thou, if the truth of thy love to me were so righteously tempered as mine is to thee.
Well, I will forget the condition of my estate to rejoice in yours.
You know my father hath no child but I, nor none is like to have. And truly, when he dies, thou shalt be his heir. For what he hath taken away from thy father perforce, I will render thee again in affection. By mine honor I will. And when I break that oath, let me turn monster. Therefore, my sweet Rose, my dear Rose, be merry.
From henceforth I will, cuz, and devise sports. Let me see. What think you of falling in love?
Marry, I prithee, do, to make sport withal, but love no man in good earnest.
What shall our sport be then?
Let us sit and mock the good housewife Fortune from her wheel, that her gifts may henceforth be bestowed equally.
I would we could do so, for her benefits are mightily misplaced, and the bountiful blind woman doth most mistake in her gifts to women.
'Tis true. For those that she makes fair, she scarce makes honest, and those that she makes honest, she makes very ill-favoredly. How now, wit? Whither wander you?
Mistress, you must come away to your father.
Were you made the messenger?
No, by mine honor. But I was bid to come for you.
Where learned you that, O fool?
Of a certain knight who swore by his honor that the pancakes were good, and swore by his honor that the mustard was not, but I'll stand to that the pancakes were not, and the mustard was good, and yet was not the knight forsworn.
How prove you that in the great heap of your knowledge?
Aye, marry, now unmuzzle your wisdom.
Well, stand you both forth. Now stroke your chins and swear by your beards that I am a knave.
By our beards, if we had them, thou art.
And by my knavery, if I had it, then I were. But if you swear by that is not, you are not forsworn. No more was this knight swearing by his honor, for he never had any.
Here comes Monsieur Le Beau,
Oh,
With his mouth full of news.
which he will put on us as pigeons feed their young. Bonjour, Monsieur Le Beau. What's the news?
Fair princess, you have lost much good sport.
Sport. Of what color?
Of what color, madam? How do I see?
As wit and fortune will.
or as the destinies decree.
Well said. That was laid on with a trowel.
You amaze me, ladies. I would have told you of good wrestling, which you have lost the sight of.
You, tell us the manner of this wrestling.
I will tell you the beginning, and if it please your ladyships, you may see the end, for here where you are, they are coming to perform it. The beginning. There comes an old man and his 3 sons.
I could match this beginning with an old tale.
The eldest of the 3 wrestled with Charles, the Duke's wrestler, which Charles in a moment threw him. It broke 3 of his ribs, that there was little hope of life left in him. So he served the 2nd, and so the 3rd. Yonder they lie. The poor man, their father, making such pitiful dole over them that all the observers take his part with weeping.
Alas!
Oh, but what is the sport, monsieur, that the ladies have lost?
What does I speak of?
Thus men may grow wiser every day. This is the first I've heard breaking of ribs is sport for ladies.
Or I promise thee.
Shall we stay for this wrestling, cousin?
You must if you stay here, for here is the appointed place of the wrestling. And they are ready to perform it.
Yonder sure they are coming. Let us now stay and see it.
Come!
Yonder the man?
Even he, madam.
Alas, he is too young. Yet he looks successfully.
How now, daughter and cousin? Are you crept hither to see the wrestling?
Aye, my liege, so please you give us leave.
You'll take little delight in it, I can tell you. There are such odds on the man. In pity of the challenger's youth, I would fain dissuade him, but he will not be entreated.
Call him hither, good Monsieur Le Beau.
Monsieur the challenger. The princess calls for you.
I attend them with all respect and duty.
Young man, have you challenged Charles the wrestler?
No. Fair princess, he is the general challenger. I come but in as others do to try him with the strength of my youth.
Young gentlemen, your spirits are too bold for your years. You have seen cruel proof of this man's strength. We pray you, for your own sake, to embrace your own safety. Give over this account.
Do, young sir, your reputation shall not therefore be misprized.
I beseech you, punish me not with your hard thoughts, but let your fair eyes and gentle wishes go with me to my trial, wherein if I be foiled, there is but one shamed that was never gracious, if killed, but one dead that was willing to be so. I shall do my friends no wrong, for I have none to lament me. The world no injury, for in it I have nothing.
The little strength I had, I would it were with you.
And by
Fare you well. Pray heaven I be deceived in you.
Your heart's desires be with you.
Come, where's this young gallant that so desirous to lie with his mother Earth?
Here, sir. But his will hath in it a more modest working.
And you shall try but one fall.
Oh, no, I warrant your grace. You shall not entreat him to a second that hath so madly persuaded him from a first.
Do you mean to mock me after? You should not have mocked me before. Come your ways.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh.
Hearken, wrestlers, to the rules. There will be no mashing, no gouging, no punching, and no kicking. Sans that, let us prepare to wrestle!
Not Charles!
Now Hercules be thy speed, young man.
My Charles!
Orlando! Woo! Oh, I would I were in this fast, strong fellow by the leg.
There we go. How dost thou, Charles?
You cannot speak, my lord.
Bear him away. What is thy name, young man?
Orlando, my liege, the youngest son of Sir Rosalind de Boys.
I would thou hadst told me of another father. The world esteemed thy father honorable, but I did find him still mine enemy. Thou shouldst have pleased me better with this deed had thou descended from another house. But fare thee well, thou art a gallant youth. I would thou hadst been son to some man else.
Were I my father, cuz, would I do this?
I am more proud to be Sir Rowland's son, his youngest son, and I would not change that calling to be adopted heir to Frederick.
My father loved Sir Rowland as his soul, and all the world was of my father's mind. Had I before known this young man, his son, I'd have added tears unto entreaties, ere he should thus have ventured.
Gentle cousin, let us go thank him and encourage him. My father's rough and envious disposition sticks me at heart.
Gentleman, wear this for me. One out of suits with fortune that could give more, but that her hand lacks means. Shall we go, cuz?
I fare you well, fair gentlemen.
Can I not say I thank you?
He calls us back. Did you call, sir? Sir, you have wrestled well and overthrown more than your enemies.
Will you go, cuz?
Very well.
Ah! Oh, what passion hangs these weights upon my tongue? I cannot speak to her, yet she urged conference. Orlando, thou art overthrown. Charles or something weaker masters thee.
Good sir, I do in all friendship counsel you to leave this place, albeit you have deserved a high commendation for true applause and love, yet such is now the Duke's condition that he misconstrues all that you have done.
I thank you, and I pray you tell me this. Which of the two was daughter of the Duke that was just now here?
Neither is daughter if we judge by manners, and yet indeed the shorter is his daughter. The other is daughter to the banished Duke, here kept by her usurping uncle as company for his daughter, whose loves are dearer than the natural bond of sisters. Sir, fare thee well. Hereafter in another life I would prefer more love and knowledge of you.
I rest much bounden to you. Farewell. Thus must I from the smoke into the smother, from tyrant Duke to a tyrant brother. But heavenly Rosalind,
My cousin, my Rosalind. Cupid have mercy, not a word.
Not one to throw at a dog.
No, thy words are too precious to be cast away upon curs. Throw some of them at me. But is all this for your father?
No. Some of it is for my child's father. Oh, how full of briars is this working day world!
They are but birds, cousin, thrown on thee in holiday foolery. If we walk not on the trodden paths, our very petticoats will catch them.
I could shake them off my coat. These birds are in my heart.
Come wrestle with thy affections.
Oh, they take the part of a better wrestler than my son.
Oh, a good wish upon you. But let us talk in good earnest. Is it possible, on such a sudden, that you should fall into so strong a liking with old Sir Rowland's youngest son?
My father loved his father dearly.
Doth it therefore ensue that you should love his son dearly? By this kind of chase I should hate him, for my father hated his father dearly, yet I hate not Orlando.
No, hate him not for my sake.
Why should I not? Doth he not deserve well?
Let me love him for that, and you love him because I do.
Mistress, dispatch you with your safest haste and get you from our court.
Me, uncle?
You, cousin, within these 10 days, if that thou beest found so near our public court as 20 miles, thou diest for it.
I do beseech your grace. Let me the knowledge of my fault bear with me. If with myself I hold intelligence or have acquaintance with my own desires, if that I do not dream or be not frantic as I do trust that I am not, then dear uncle, never so much as in thought unborn did I offend your highness.
Thus do all traitors. Let it suffice thee that I trust thee not.
Yet your mistrust cannot make me a traitor. Tell me whereon the likelihood depends.
Thou art thy father's daughter, there's enough.
So was I when your highness banished him. So was I when your highness took his dukedom. Treason is not inherited, my lord, or if we did derive it from our friends, what's that to me? My father was no traitor.
Your sovereign, hear me speak.
Aye, Celia, we stayed her for your sake, else had she with her father ranged along.
I did not then entreat to have her stay. I was too young that time to value her. But now, I know her. If she be a traitor, why, so am I. If we still have slept together, learned, played, ate together, and wheresoever we went, still we went coupled and inseparable.
She is too subtle for thee, and her smoothness, her very silence, and her patience speak to the people, and they pity her. Thou art a fool. She robs thee of thy name, and thou wilt show more bright and seem more virtuous when she is gone. She is banished.
Pronounce that sentence then on me, my liege. I cannot live out of her company.
You are a fool. You, niece, provide yourself. If you outstay the time. Upon mine honor, and in the greatness of my word, you die.
Oh, my poor Rosalind, whither wilt thou go? Wilt thou change fathers? I will give thee mine. I charge thee, be thou not more grieved than I am.
I have more cause.
Thou hast not, cousin. Prithee be cheerful. Knowest thou not the Duke hath banished me, his daughter?
That he hath not.
No, hath not. Rosalind lacks then the love which teacheth thee that thou and I am one. Shall we be sundered? Shall we part, sweet girl? No, let my father seek another heir. Therefore devise with me how we may fly, whither to go, and what to bear with us. Say what thou canst, I'll go along with thee.
Why, whither should we go?
To seek my uncle, in the forest of Arden.
Alas, what danger will it be to us maids as we are to travel forth so far? Beauty provoketh thieves sooner than gold.
I'll put myself in poor and mean attire, and with a kind of umber smirch my face. The like do you. So shall we pass along and never stir assailants.
Were it not better, because that I am more than common tall, that I did suit me all points like a man, a gallant curtel axe in my hand, a boar spear on my thigh, and in my heart. Ow! Lie there, what woman's fear their will. We'll have a swashing and a martial outside, as many other mannish cowards have that do outface it with their semblances.
What shall I call thee when thou art a man?
Have no worse a name than Jove's own page. Therefore, look you, call me Ganymede. But what shall you be called?
Something that hath a reference to my state. No longer Celia, but Aliena.
But cousin, what if we essayed to steal the clownish fool out of your father's court? Would he not be a comfort to our travel?
He'll go along o'er the wide world with me. Leave me alone to woo him. Let's away. Devise the fittest time and safest way to hide us from pursuit that will be made after my flight. Now go we in content to liberty and not to banishment.
Dun, 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 dun.
Now, my co-mates and brothers in exile, are not these woods more free from peril than the envious court? Here feel we but the penalty of Adam, the season's difference, as the icy fang and churlish chiding of the winter wind, which, when it blows and bites upon my body, even till I shrink with cold, I smile and say, this is no flattery. These are counselors that feelingly persuade me what I am. And this, our life exempt from public haunt, finds tongues in trees, books in the running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. Sweet are the uses of adversity, which, like the toad, ugly and venomous, wears yet a precious jewel in his head.
Happy is your grace that can translate the stubbornness of fortune into so quiet and so sweet a style.
Come, shall we go and kill us venison? And yet it irks me that poor dappled fools should, in their own confines, with forked heads, have their round haunches gored.
Indeed, my lord, the melancholy Jaques grieves at that. And in that kind swears you do more usurp than doth your brother, that hath banished you.
Today, my lord of Amiens and myself did steal behind her. She lay along beside the brook that brawls along this wood, to the which place a poor sequestered stag, that from the hunter's aim had taken hurt, did come to languish. And indeed, my lord, the wretched animal heaved forth such groans that their discharge did stretch his leathern coat almost to bursting, and the big round tears coursed one another down his innocent nose in piteous chase.
Thus the hairy fool, much mocked the melancholy Jaques, stood on the extremest verge of the swift brook, now commenting in tears.
But what said Jaques? Did she not moralize this spectacle?
Oh yes, and to 1,000 similes. First, leaping into the needless stream. Poor dear, quoth she, thou makest a testament as worldlings do. Then, being there alone, 'tis right, quoth she, thus misery doth part the flux of company.
Aye, quoth Shakespeare. Sweep on, you fat and greasy citizens, 'tis just the fashion. Thus, most invectively, she pierceth through the body of the country, city, court, yea, and of this our life, swearing that we are mere usurpers, tyrants, and what's worse, to fright the animals, and to kill them up in their assigned and native dwelling place.
And did you leave her in this contemplation?
We did, my lord, weeping and commenting upon the sobbing deer.
Oh, show me the place. I love to cope her in these sullen fits, for then she's full of matter.
I'll bring you to her straight.
Who's there?
Oh, my sweet master. Oh, my gentle master. My sweet master. Oh, you memory of, oh, Sir Rowland, what make you here? Oh, what a world is this when what is becoming venom's him that bears it?
Eve, what's the matter?
Oh, unhappy youth, come not within these doors. Within this roof lives the enemy of all your graces. Your brother, no, oh brother, hath heard your praises, and he means this night to burn the lodgings in which you lie, and you within it. Do not enter it.
Why, whither, Eve, should I go?
Oh, no matter whither, just come not here.
Eve, what wouldst thou have me do? Wouldst thou have me go and beg my food?
Nay, do not so. I have 500 crowns, the thrifty hire I saved under your father, which I did store to be my foster nurse when service in my old limbs should lie lame and undergot an age and corners thrown. Yet I am strong and lusty. Let me go with you. Here is the gold. All this I give you. Let me be your servant, though I look old.
Good woman, how well in thee appears the constant service of the antique world. You are not for the fashion of these times, where none will sweat but for promotion. Come your ways. We'll go along together.
Master, go on. I will follow thee to the last gasp with truth and loyalty. From 17 years till now, almost fourscore, lived I here, but now live here no more. At 17 years, many their fortune seek, but at fourscore, 'tis too late a week. Yet fortune cannot recompense me better than to die well and not my master's debtor.
Can it be possible that no man saw them? It cannot be. Some villains of my court are of consent and suffrage in this.
I cannot hear of any that did see her. The ladies, her attendants of her chamber, saw her abed, and in the morning early found her bed untreasured of their mistress.
My lord, the roguish clown at whom so oft your grace is wont to laugh is also missing.
Hesperia, the princess's gentlewoman, secretly o'erheard your daughter and her cousin much commend the parts and graces of the wrestler that did befoil Seigneury Charles.
That wherever they are gone, that you they surely in their company.
Send to his brother. I'll make him find him. Do this suddenly. And let not search and inquisition fail to bring again these foolish runaways.
Jupiter, how weary are my spirits.
I care not for my spirits. My legs were not so weary.
Courage, good Aliena!
I pray you bear with me. I cannot go no further.
Well, for my part, I'd rather bear with you than bear you.
Well, this is the forest of Arden.
Aye, now am I in Arden, the more fool I. When I was at home, I was in a better place, but travelers must be content.
I be so, good touchstone. Look you who comes here, a young man and old in solemn talk.
Now that is the way to make her scorn you still.
Oh, Corin, that thou knewest how I do love her.
Ah, I partly guess, for I have loved ere now.
No, Corin, thou canst not guess, being old. But as sure as you were a lover, as sided upon the midnight pillow in your youth. But if thy love were ever like to mine, as sure as I think did never man love so, well then, how many actions most ridiculous hast thou been drawn to by thy fantasy?
Ha! Into 1,000 that I have forgotten.
Oh, didst then never love so heartily? If thou rememberest not the slightest folly that love did ever make thee run into, then thou hast not loved, or if thou hast not sat, as I do now, wearying thy hero and thy mistress's praise, thou hast not loved, or if thou hast not broken from company abruptly, as my passion now makes me, thou hast not loved. Oh, Phoebe, 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 I'm coming!
Alas, poor shepherd, searching of thy wound, I have by hard adventure found mine own.
And I mine. I remember when I was in love with Jane's smile, and the kissing of her batlet, and the cow's dugs that her pretty chapped hands had milked. Oh, we that are true lovers run into strange havers. But as all is mortal in nature, so is all nature and love mortal in folly.
Thou speakest wiser than thou art ware of.
Nay, I shall never beware of mine own wit till I break my shins against it.
Jove, Jove, this shepherd's passion is much upon my fashion.
And mine! Though grows something stale with me.
I pray you, one of you question yond man if he for gold will give us any food. I faint almost to death.
Who are you calling? Who calls?
Your betters, sir.
Else are they very wretched.
Peace, I say. Good even to you, friend.
And to you, gentle sir, and to you all.
I pray you, shepherd, if that love or gold can in this desert place buy entertainment, bring us, where we may rest ourselves and feed. Here is a young maid for travel much oppressed and faints almost for succor.
Fair sir, I pity her, and wish for her sake that my fortunes were more able to relieve her. But I am shepherd to another man. Besides his coat, flock, and bounds of feed are at our sheepcote now. Therefore there is nothing that you will feed on. But what is, come see, and in my voice most welcome shall you be.
What is he that shall buy this flock and pasture?
Not that young swain you saw erewhile cares little for buying anything.
I pray you, if it stand with honesty, buy thou the pasture, cottage, and the flock. Thou shalt have to pay for it of us.
And we will mend thy wages. I like this place and willingly could waste my time in it.
Assuredly, the thing is to be sold. Go with me, and I'll buy it with your gold right suddenly.
you melancholy, Madam Jake?
Oh, I thank it. More, I prithee more. I can suck melancholy out of a song as a weasel sucks eggs. More, I prithee more.
My voice is ragged. I know I cannot please you.
I do not desire you to please me. I do desire you to sing. Come, more, another stanza. William stanzas?
What you will, Madam Jaquees.
Nay, I cannot, for their names, they owe me nothing. Will you sing?
More at your request than to please myself.
Well, come sing, and you that will not, hold your tongues.
Well, I'll end the song.
Sirs, cover the while, the Duke will drink under this tree. He hath been all this day to look you.
And I have been all this day to avoid him. He's too disputable for my company. I think of as many matters as he, yet I give heaven thanks and make no boast of him. Come, warble, come.
Who does ambition shun? Who loves light and sun? Seeking the food he eats, and pleased with what he gets. Come hither, he should be no enemy, but winter and rough weather.
Oh, dear master, I can go no further. I die for food. Oh, here lie I down and measure out my grave. Oh, farewell, kind master.
How now, Eve? No greater hurt in thee? Live a little. Comfort a little. Cheer thyself a little for my sake. Be comfortable. Hold death a while at the arm's end, yet thou liest in the bleak air. Come. Eve, I will bear thee to some shelter. And thou shalt not die for lack of food, if there be anything living in this desert. Cheerily, good Eve.
I think she be transformed into a beast, for I can nowhere find her like a man.
My lord, she is but even now gone hence.
Go, seek her, tell her I would speak.
Ah, she ceased by my labor by her own approach.
Why, how now, madame? What a life is this, that your poor friends must woo your company? What, you look merrily.
A fool! A fool! I met a fool in the forest. A motley fool, a miserable world. As I do live by food, I met a fool who laid him down and basked him in the sun. Good morrow, fool, quoth I. No, madam, quoth he, don't call me fool till heaven has sent me fortune. And said very wisely, it is now 10 o'clock, and thus ye may see, quoth he, how the world wags. Just an hour ago it was 9, and an hour more 'twill be 11, and so from hour to hour we ripe and ripe, and then from hour to hour we rot and rot, and thereby hangs the tale. When I did hear that motley fool thus moral on the times, my lungs began to crow like chanticleer, that fools could be so deep contemplative. And I did laugh, sans intermission, an hour by his style. Oh, if I were a fool, I am ambitious for a motley coat.
What fool is this?
A worthy fool, one that hath been a courtier, and has strange places crammed with observation, which she uses in mangled forms. Oh, if I were a fool, I am so ambitious for a motley coat.
Thou shalt have one.
It will be my only suit. Invest me in my motley. Give me leave to speak my...
Forbear! And eat no more.
Nay, I have ate none yet.
Nor shalt not till necessity be served.
Of what kind should this cock come off?
Art thou thus boldened, man, by thy distress, or else a rude despiser of good manners, that in civility thou seemest so empty?
You touched my vein at first. The thorny point of bare distress had taken from me the smooth show of civility, yet I am and lend bread and know some nurture. But forbear, I say! he dies that touches any of this fruit, till I as my affairs are answered.
If you will not be answered with reason, I must die.
What would you have? Your gentleness shall force more than your force move us to gentleness.
I almost die for food, and let me have it!
Sit down and feed. Welcome to our table.
Speaking so gently, I pray you pardon me. I thought all things had been savage here, and so I put on stern commandment. But whatever you are, if ever you have looked on better days, let gentleness my strong enforcement be, in the which hope I blush. Hide my sword.
True is it that we have seen better days, and therefore sit you down in gentleness, and take upon command what help we have that to your wanting may be ministered.
Forbear your food a little while. There is an old, poor woman who after me hath many a weary step limped in pure love, till she be first suffice. I cannot touch a bit.
Go, find her out. We will nothing waste till you return.
Thank ye. Be blessed for your good comfort.
Thou seest we are not all alone, unhappy. This wide and universal theater presents more woeful pageants than the scene wherein we play in.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow. And then the soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous of honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good cape and lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of vices and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again to childish treble, pipes and whistles in a sound. Last scene of all, that ends a strange, eventful history. The second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
Welcome. Set down your venerable burthen and let her feed.
I thank you most for her.
So had you need. I scarce can speak to thank you for myself.
Welcome, fall to. I will not trouble you as yet to ask about your fortunes. Give us some music and good custom. Play.
Yeah.
Sir Roland's son, as you have whispered faithfully you were, be truly welcome. I am the Duke that loved your father. The residue of your fortune, go to my cave and tell me. And good old woman, thou art right welcome as thy master is. Support her by the arm. Give me your hand, and let me all your fortunes understand.
बरसातों में डूबा हर पल यादों में दिल क्या करे अपने में ही खोए रहता हूँ कहना कुछ कहता हूँ.
Hang there my verse in witness of my love. Oh, Rosalind! These trees will be my books, and in their barks my thoughts I'll character, that every eye which in this forest looks shall see thy virtues witnessed everywhere. Run, run, Orlando. Carve on every tree the fair, the chaste, the inexpressive she.
And how you like this shepherd's life, Master Touchstone?
Truly, shepherd, in respect of itself, it is a good life. But in the respect that it is a shepherd's life, it is not. Now, in respect that it is solitary, I like it very well. But in respect that it is private, it is a very vile life. Now, in respect that it is in the fields, it pleaseth me well. But in the respect that it is not in the courts, it is tedious. Hast any philosophy in thee, shepherd?
No more than the more one sickens, the worse at ease he is. That the property of rain is too wet and fire to burn. That good pastures make fat sheep. Oh, and the greatest cause of the night is lack of the sun.
Well, such a one is a natural philosopher. Wast ever in court?
No, truly.
Ah, then thou art damned.
For not being at court? Your reason?
Well, if thou wast never at court, thou never sawest good manners. If thou never sawest good manners, then thy manners must be wicked, and wickedness is sin, and sin is damnation. Oh, thou art in a perilous state, shepherd.
Sir, I am a true laborer. I earn that I eat, get that I wear. Oh, no man hate, envy no man's happiness. And the greatest of my pride is to watch my ewes graze and my lambs suck.
Now this is another simple sin in you. To bring the ewes and the rams together and to offer to make your living by the copulation of cattle. If thou beest not damned for this, the devil himself will have no shepherds. I cannot see how else thou shouldst escape.
Here comes young Master Ganymede, my new mistress's brother.
From the east to western end, no jewel is like Rosalind. Her worth being mounted on the wind through all the world bears Rosalind. All the pictures fairest lined are but black to Rosalind. Let no fair be kept in mind but the fair of Rosalind.
Oh, I will rhyme you so 8 years together. Dinners and suppers and sleeping hours accepted. This is the right butter woman's rank to market.
Oh, fool.
For a taste. If a heart do lack a hind, let him seek out Rosalind. If a cat will after kind, so be sure will Rosalind. Winter garments must be lined, so must slender Rosalind. Oh, he whose truest rose will find, must find love's prick and Rosalind.
Peace, you dull fool. I found them on a tree.
No, truly the tree yields bad fruit.
Peace, I say. Here comes my sister reading. Stand aside.
Why should this a desert be? For it is unpeopled? No. Tongues I'll hang on every tree that shall civil saying show. Will I, Rosalinda, write, teaching all the breed to know the quintessence of every sprite. Heaven would in little show. Heaven would that she these gifts should have, and I to live and die her slave. Slab.
Oh, most gentle pulpiter, what tedious homily of love have you wearied your parishioners withal, and never once cried, have patience, good people.
Oh, no. Back, friends. Shepherd, go off a little. Sir, I'll go with him.
Come, shepherd, let us make an honorable retreat.
Didst thou hear these verses?
Oh, yes, and more too, for some of them had in them more feet than the verses would bear.
But didst thou hear without wondering how thy name should be hanged and carved upon these trees?
I was 7 of the 9 days out of the wonder before you came, for look here what I found on a palm tree.
Trow you who hath done this?
Is it a man?
And a chain that you once wore about his neck. Change you color?
Nay, but who is it?
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful, and most wonderful, wonderful, and yet again wonderful, and after that, out of all hooping.
Good my complexion, dost thou think, though I am comparisoned like a man, I have a doublet and hose in my disposition? Tell me who it is quickly, and speak apace. What manner of man? Is his head worth a hat, or his chin worth a beard?
Nay, he hath but a little beard.
I might stay the growth of his beard, if thou delay me not the knowledge of his chin.
It is young Orlando that tripped up the wrestler's heels and your heart, both in an instant.
Nay, the devil take mocking. Speak sad brow and true maid.
In faith, cuz 'tis he.
Orlando?
Orlando.
Alas the day! What shall I do with my doublet and hose? What did he when thou sawest him? What said he? How looked he? Wherein went he? What makes he here? Did he ask for me? Where remains he? How parted he with thee? And when shalt thou see him again? Answer me in one word.
You must borrow me Gargantua's mouth first. 'Tis a word too great for any mouth of this age's size.
But does he know that I'm in this forest and in man's apparel? Looks he as freshly as he did the day he wrestles?
I found him under a tree, like a dropped acorn.
It may well be called Jove's tree when it drops forth such fruit.
Give me audience, good madam.
Proceed.
There lay he, stretched along like a wounded knight.
Oh, though it be pity to see such a sight, it well becomes the ground.
Cry hollow to thy tongue, I prithee, it curvets unseasonably. He was furnished like a hunter.
Oh, ominous, he comes to kill my heart.
I would sing my song without a burden. Thou bringest me out of tune.
Do you not know that I'm a woman? When I think, I must speak. But sweet, say on.
Soft, comes he not here?
'Tis he. Slink by and note him.
I thank you for your company, but good faith, I had as lief have been myself alone.
And so had I. Yet for fashion's sake, I thank you too for your society.
God be with you. Let's meet as little as we can.
I do desire that we may be better strangers.
I pray you, mar no more trees by writing love songs in their barks.
I pray you mar no more of my verses with reading them ill favorably.
Rosalind is your love's name?
Yes, just.
I do not like her name.
Oh, there was no thought of pleasing you when she was christened, so.
What stature is she of?
Just as high as my heart.
You are full of pretty answers. Come sit with me, and we two will rail against our mistress the world in all our misery.
I will chide no breather in the world but myself, against whom I know the most faults.
The worst fault you have is to be in love.
'Tis a fault I will not change for your best virtue. I am weary of you.
By my troth, I was seeking for a fool when I found you.
Now she's drowned in the brook. Look, by then you shall see her.
Thou see mine own figure.
Which I take to be either a fool or a cipher.
I will no longer tarry with you. Farewell, good senior. Love.
I am glad of your departure. Adieu, Madame Melancholy.
I will speak to him like a saucy lackey, and under that habit play the knave with him. Do you hear, Forrester?
Very well. What would you?
I pray you, what is it o'clock?
You should ask what time of day. There's no clock in the forest.
Then there is no true lover in the forest, else sighing every minute and groaning every hour would detect the lazy foot of time as well as a clock.
Where dwell you, pretty youth?
With this shepherdess, my sister, here in the skirts of the forest like a fringe upon a petticoat.
Are you a native of this place?
As the coney you see dwell where she is kindled.
Your accent is something finer than you could purchase, and so remove the dwelling.
I have been told so of many, but indeed an old religious uncle of mine taught me to speak, one who was in his youth an inland man. One who knew courtship too well, for there he fell in love. And I've heard him read many lectures against it. And I thank God I'm not a woman to be charged with so many giddy offenses as he hath generally taxed their whole sex withal.
Can you remember any of the principal evils he laid to the charge of women?
There were none principal. Every one fault seeming monstrous, till his fellow fault came to match it.
I prithee, recount some of them.
I will not cast away my physic, but on those that are sick. There's a man haunts our forest that does abuse our young plants with carving Rosalind in the barks, hangs odes upon hawthorns and elegies on brambles, all forsooth deifying the name of Rosalind. If I could meet that fancy monger, I'd give him some good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
I am he that is so love-shaped. I pray you, tell me your remedy.
There are none of my uncle's marks on you. He taught me to know a man in love, in which cage of rushes I'm sure you are no prisoner.
What were his marks?
A lean cheek, which you have not, a blue eye and sunken, which you have not, a beard neglected, which you have not. Then your hose should be ungartered, your bonnet unbuttoned, your sleeve unbuttoned, your shoes untied, and everything about you demonstrating a careless desolation. But you were no such man.
Fair youth, I would I could make thee believe I love.
Me believe it? You might as soon make her you love believe it, which I warrant she's after to do, than to say she does. That's one of the ways in which women still give lie to their consciences. But in good sooth, are you he that hangs the verses on the trees wherein Rosalind is so admired?
I swear to thee, youth, by the white hand of Rosalind, I am that he, that unfortunate he.
But are you so much in love as your rhymes speak?
Neither rhyme nor reason can express how much.
Love is merely a madness, yet I confess curing it by counsel.
Did you ever cure any so?
Yes, one, and in this manner. He was to imagine me his love, his mistress, and I sent him every day to woo me, at which time would I, being but a moonish youth, grieve, be effeminate, changeable, longing and liking, proud, fantastical, apish, shallow, inconstant, full of tears, full of smiles, would now like him, would now loathe him, would then entertain him, would then forswear him, would now weep for him, would then spit at him, that I drove my suitor from his mad humor of love to a living humor of madness, which was to forswear the full stream of the world and live in a nook, merely monastic. And thus I cured him. And so will I take upon me to wash your liver as clean as a sound sheep's heart, that there shall not be one spot of love in it.
I would not be cured, youth.
I would cure you, if you would but call me Rosalind and come every day to my cote and woo me.
By the faith of my love, I will. Tell me where it is.
I will show it to you, and by the way, you shall tell me where in the forest you live. Come, will you go?
With all my heart, good youth.
Nay, you must call me Rosalind. Come, sister, will you go?
Not see him since. Sir, sir, that cannot be. Bring him dead or living, or seek thou no more to turn a living in our territory. Thy lands and all things that thou dost call thine worth seizure, do we seize into our hands, till thou canst quit thee by thy brother's mouth of what we think against thee.
Oh, if that your highness knew my heart in this.
I have never loved my brother in my life. More villain thou. Well, push him out of doors, and let my officers of such a nature make an extent upon his house and lands. Do this expediently, and turn him going.
Come apace, Audrey. I will fetch up your goats, Audrey. And now, Audrey, am I the man yet? Doth my simple feature content you?
Your features, Lord Warren does. What features?
I am here among thee and thy goats, as the most capricious poet, honest David, was among the goats. When a man's verses cannot be understood, it strikes him more dead than a great reckoning in a little room. I would that thee were poetical.
I don't know what poetical is. Is it a true thing?
No.
Is it honest and word
No.
and deed?
No, truly, for the truest poetry is the most feigning, and lovers are given to poetry, and what they swear in poetry, as lovers they do feign.
So do you wish the gods had made me poetical?
Truly, I do. For thou hast told me that thou art honest. Now, if thou wert a poet, I might have some hope that it's fame.
Would you not have me be honest, then?
No, truly, not unless thou wert hard favored. For to couple honesty to beauty is to have honey as sauce to sugar.
A material fool.
Well, I am not there, so I pray the gods make me honest.
And to cast away honesty upon a foul slut were to put good meat in an unclean dish.
I am not a slut, though I am foul.
Well, praise be the gods for thy foulness. Sluttishness may come hereafter, but, be that as it may, I will marry thee. And to that end, I have been with Sir Oliver Martext, the vicar of the next village, who has promised to meet thee in this place of the woods and to couple us.
I would fain see this meeting.
May the gods give us joy.
Oh, amen. Oh, yes, Sir Oliver. Sir Oliver Martext, thou art well met. Will you dispatch us under this tree, or shall we return with you to your chapel?
Is there none here to give this woman?
I will not take her on gift of any man.
Truly she must be given, or the marriage is not lawful.
Proceed, I'll give her.
Good madam, what ye call it, I am so glad to see you. You are welcome.
Will you be married, Motley?
As an ox has his bow, so a man has his desires. As pigeons bill, so will wedlock be nibbling.
And will you, being a man of your breeding, get married under a bush like a beggar? Get you to church and have a good priest that can tell you what marriage is.
Now, I am not of a mind that I am better to be married of him than another, for he is not like to marry me well. And being not well married, it will give me an excuse hereafter to leave my wife.
Go thou with me, and let me counsel thee.
Come, sweet Audrey, we must be married, or we must live in Baudry. Farewell, good Master Oliver Not. Oh, sweet Oliver, oh, brave Oliver, oh, not to wedding with thee.
'Tis no matter. Never a fantastical knave of them all shall flout me out of my calling.
Never talk to me, I will weep.
Do, I prithee, but yet have the grace to consider that tears do not become a man.
But have I not cause to weep?
As good cause as one would desire, therefore weep.
But why did he say he would come this morning and comes not?
Nay, certainly there is no truth in him.
Do you think so?
Yes. I think he is not a pig person or a horse stealer, but for his verity in love, I do think him as concave as a covered goblet or a worm-eaten nut.
Not true in love?
Yes, when he is in, but I think he is not in.
You've heard him swear downright he was.
Was is not is. Besides, the oath of a lover is no stronger than the word of a tapster. They are both the confirmers of false reckonings. He attends here, in the forest, on the Duke, your father.
I saw the Duke yesterday, and he had much question of me. He asked me of what parentage I was. I told him of his good as he. He laughed and let me go. But what talk we of fathers when there's such a man as Orlando?
Oh, that's a brave man. He writes brave verses, speaks brave words, swears brave oaths, and breaks them bravely. Quite traverse. Athwart the heart of his lover.
Mistress and master, you have oft inquired after that shepherd that complained of love, praising the proud, disdainful shepherdess that was his mistress?
What of it?
See a pageant truly played between the pale complexion of true love and the red glow of scorn and proud disdain. Go hence a little, and I shall conduct it, if you will mark it.
Come, let us remove the sight of lovers feedeth those in love. Bring us to this sight, and you shall say, I will prove a busy actor in their play.
Sweet Phoebe, do not scorn me. Do not, Phoebe, say that you do not love me, but say no so in bitterness. The common executioner whose heart the accustomed sight of death makes hard falls not the X upon the humble neck, first begs pardon. Will you sterner be than he that lives and dies by bloody drops?
I would not be thy executioner. I fly thee, for I would not injure thee. Thou tellest me there is murder in mine eyes. 'Tis pretty sure and very probable that eyes that are the frailest and softest things should be called tyrants, butchers, murderers. Now I do frown on thee with all my heart. And if mine eyes can wound, now let them kill thee.
Oh.
Now, counterfeit to swoon. Why now fall down? Or, if thou canst not, for shame, for shame. Why not to say mine eyes are murderers? But now mine eyes hurt thee not. Nor, I am sure, there is no force in eyes that can do hurt.
Dear Phoebe, if ever, as that ever may be near you, should meet in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then shall you know the wounds invisible that love's keen arrows do make.
But till that time, come not thou near me. And when that time comes, afflict me with thy mocks, pity me not, as till that time I shall not pity thee.
And why, pray you? Who might your mother be, that you insult, exult, and all at once over the wretched? Why look you so on me? Think she means to tangle my eyes too? No, faith, proud mistress, hope not after it. 'Tis not your inky brow nor your black silk hair that can entame my spirits to your worship. Foolish shepherd, why do you follow her? She is 1,000 times a properer man than you are 1,000 times a properer man than she a woman. 'Tis such fools as you that makes the world full of ill-favored children.
Hey!
But mistress, know thyself. Down on your knees and thank heaven, fasting for a good man's love. For I must tell you, friendly, in your ear, sell what you can. You are not for all markets. Try the man mercy, love him, take his offer. So take her to thee, shepherd, fare thee well.
Will you, I pray you, chide a year together? I would rather hear you chide than this man woo.
He's fallen in love with your foulness, and she'll fall in love with my anger. I'll sauce her with bitter words. Why look you so on me?
For no ill will I bear you.
I pray you, do not fall in love with me, for I am falser than vows made in wine. Besides, I like you not. Shall we go, sister? Shepherd, ply her hard. Shepherdess, look on him better. Be not proud. To our flock.
Dead shepherd, now I find thy saw of mine. Whoever loved, that loved not at first sight.
Sweet Phoebe.
What sayest thou, Silvius?
Sweet Phoebe, pity me.
Why, I am sorry for thee, gentle Silvius.
Wherever sorrow is, relief would be. For if you do sorrow at my grief and love, then by giving love, your sorrow and my grief were both exterminate.
Thou hast my love, is that not neighborly?
I would have you.
Oh, why that were covetousness. Silvius, the time was that I hated thee, and it's not that I bear thee love,
But since thou canst talk of love so well, thy company, which erst was irksome to me, I shall endure, and employ thee too.
Oh. So holy and so perfect is my love that I shall think it a most plenteous crop. Just loose now and then a scattered smile, and that I'll live upon.
Oh, knowest now the youth that spoke to me erewhile?
Not very well, but I've met him oft. He hath bought the cottage in bounds that the old Carl once was master of.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy, but he talks well. I love him not, nor hate him not. Yet I have more cause to hate him than I do to love him. For what had he to do to chide at me? He said my eyes were black, and my hair black, and now I remembered scorned at me. I marvel why I answered not again. I will write him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it. Wilt thou, Sylvius?
Phoebe! With all my heart.
I will write it straight. The matter's in my head and in my heart. I will be bitter with him and passing short. Go with me, Sylvius.
Huh?
I prithee, pretty youth, let me be better acquainted with thee.
They say you are a melancholy lady.
I am so, I love it better than laughing.
Those that are in the extremity of either are abominable people and betray themselves to every modern censure worse than drunkards.
Why, 'tis good to be sad and say nothing.
Why, then 'tis good to be a post.
This is a melancholy of my own, abstracted from many simples, compounded of many objects, and indeed, the Sunday contemplation of my travels, which wraps me in the most humorous sadness.
Good day and happiness, dear Rosalind.
Oh, nay, God be with you, if you talk in blank verse.
Farewell, Madam Traveler. Why, how now, Orlando? Where have you been all this while? You, a lover? If you serve me such another trick, never come in my sight more.
Fair Rosalind, I come within an hour of my promise.
Break an hour's promise in love?
Pardon me, dear Rosalind.
Nay, if you be so tardy, never come in my sight more. I had as lief be wooed of a snail.
Of a snail?
Aye, of a snail. For though he comes slowly, he wears his house upon his head. A better jointure, I think, than you make a woman. Besides, he carries his destiny with him.
What's that?
Why, horns, which such as you are fain to be beholding to your wives for.
Virtue is no hornmaker, and my Rosalind is virtuous.
And I am your Rosalind.
It pleases him to call you so, but he hath a Rosalind of a better leer than you.
Come, woo me, woo me, for I am in a holiday humor, and like enough to consent. What would you say to me now, if I were your very, very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Nay, you were better speak first, and when you were gravelled for lack of matter, you might take occasion to kiss.
How if my kiss be denied?
Then she puts you to entreaty, and there begins new suit.
My suit?
Am I not your Rosalind?
It takes some pleasure to say you are, because I would be talking of her.
Then in her person, I say, I would not have you.
Then in my own person I die.
Now, Faye, die by attorney. The poor world is over 6 billion years old, and in all this time, there's not any man died in his own person, videlicet in a love cause. Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
I would not have my right, Rosalind, in this mind. I protest her frown might kill me.
By this hand it would not kill a fly. But come, now I will be your Rosalind in a more coming on disposition, and Ask what you will, I will grant it.
Love me! Rosalind!
Yes, faith will I. Fridays and Saturdays and all.
Wilt thou have me?
Aye, and 20 such.
What sayest thou?
Are you not good?
I hope so.
Well, then can one desire too much of a good thing? Come, sister, you must be the priest and marry us. Give me your hand, Orlando. What say you, sister?
Prithee. Marry us.
I cannot say the words.
You must say, will you, Orlando?
Go to. Will you, Orlando, have to write this, Rosalind?
I will.
But when?
Now, as fast as you can marry us.
Then you must say, I take
Thee, Rosalind, for a wife.
Take thee, Orlando, for husband. Would you have her after you've possessed her?
Forever and a day.
Nay, say the day without the ever.
Will my Rosalind do so?
By this hand, she will do as I do.
She is wise.
Or else she could not do this. The wiser, the waywarder.
These 2 hours, Rosalind, I must leave thee.
Alas, dear love, I cannot lack thee 2 hours.
Send the Duke at dinner. At 2 o'clock, I'll be with you again.
By my troth, and in good earnest, and so God mend me, and by all the pretty oaths that are not dangerous, if you break one jot of your promise, or come within a minute of your hour, I will think you the most pathetical break promise, and the most shallow lover, and the most unworthy of her you call Rosalind, that may be chosen out of the gross band of the unfaithful. Therefore beware my censure, and keep your promise.
With no less religion than if thou wert indeed my Rosalind. Adieu!
Well, adieu!
You have simply misused our sex in your love parade. We must have your deposition post plucked over your head and show the world what the bird had done to her own nest.
Coz, oh my pretty little Coz, if thou didst know how many fathom deep I am in love, but it cannot be sounded, my affection hath an unknown bottom.
Or rather, bottomless, that as fast as you pour affection in, it runs out.
Same wicked bastard of Venus, let him be the judge of how deep I am in love. For I tell thee, Aliena, I cannot be out of the sight of Orlando. I will find a shadow and sigh till he come. How will I know if he really loves me? I'll say a prayer with every heartbeat.
I fall in love whenever we meet. I'm asking you because you know about these things.
My errand is to you, fair youth. My gentle Phoebe, she bid me give you this. I know not the contents, but as I guess, by the stern brow and waspish action that she did use as she was writing of it, there's an angry tenor. But pardon me, I am but as a guiltless messenger.
She says I am not fair, and that I lack manners. She calls me proud, and that she could not love me. Her love is not the hare that I do hunt. Why writes she so to me? Well, shepherd, well, this is a letter of your own device.
No, I protest. I know not the contents. Phoebe did write it.
Come, you are a fool. I say she never did invent this letter. This is a man's invention in his hand.
Oh, sure, it is hers.
'Tis a boisterous and cruel style. A style for challengers. Women's gentle brain could not drop forth such giant rude invention.
No.
Will you hear the letter?
So please you, for I've never heard it yet.
though heard too much of Phoebe's cruelty.
She Phoebes me. Mark how the tyrant writes. Why thy Godhead laid apart, warrest thou with a woman's heart? Have you ever heard such railing?
Call you this railing?
Whiles the eyes of man did woo me, that could do no vengeance to me, meaning me a beast.
Yes.
He that brings this love to thee, little knows this love in thee. And by him seal up thy mind, whether that thy youth and kind will the faithful offer take of me, and all that I can make, or else by him my love deny, and then I'll study how to die.
Call you this chiding?
Alas, poor shepherd.
Do you pity him? No, he deserves no pity. Wilt thou love such a woman?
Yes.
Not to be endured. Go to her and say this to her, that if she loves me, I charge her to love thee, as you be a true lover, hence, and not a word.
Good morrow, fair ones. Pray you, if you know, where in the purlieus of this forest stands a sheepcote fenced about with olive trees.
West of this place, down in the neighbor bottom. But at this hour the house doth keep itself, there's none within.
If that and I may profit by a tongue, then should I know you by description. Such garments and such years. The boy is fair, a female favor, and bestows himself like a ripe sister. And the woman, low and paler than her brother. Are you not the owner of the house I did inquire for?
It is no boast, being asked to say we are.
Orlando doth commend to you both, and to the youth he doth call Rosalind. He sends this bloody napkin. Are you he?
I am. What are we to understand by this?
When last the young Orlando parted from you, he left with a promise to return again within an hour. And pacing to the forest, lo, what befell? He threw his eye aside and marked what object did present itself. Under an oak whose boughs were mossed with age lay a wretched and ragged man, overgrown with hair. Around his neck a green and gilded snake did wreathe itself, whose head with nimble threads did approach the opening of his mouth. But seeing this, Orlando did approach, and the snake unlinked itself, and with indented glides did slip away into a bush, under which bush's shade a lioness, with udders all drawn dry, lay couching, head on ground, with cat-like watch, when the sleeping man should stir. But seeing this, Orlando did approach the man and found it was his brother, his elder brother.
Oh, I have heard him speak of that same brother, and he did render him the most unnatural that lived amongst men.
And well he might do so, for I know he was unnatural.
But to Orlando, did he leave him there, food to the sucked and hungry lioness?
Twice he did turn his back and purpose so. But kindness, nobler ever than revenge, and nature stronger than his just occasion, made him give battle to the lioness, who quickly fell before him, in which, hurtling from miserable slumber, I await.
Are you his brother?
Was it you he rescued?
Was it you that did so oft contrive to kill him?
'Tis I, but 'tis not I. I do not shame to tell you what I was, since my conversion so sweetly tastes, being the thing that I am.
But to the bloody napkin!
By and by, from first to last betwixt us two, unto how I came into this desert place. Brief he led me to the gentle Duke, and the lioness had torn some flesh away, which all this while had bled, and now he had fainted, and cried in fainting upon Rosalind. Brief I recovered him. I bound up his wound, and after some small space he sent me hither, being the stranger that I am, to tell this story that you may excuse his broken promise, and to give this napkin dyed in his blood upon the youth he doth in sport call Rosalind,
Why, how now, Ganymede? Sweet Ganymede!
Many will swoon when they do look on blood.
There's more in it. Cousin Ganymede!
Look, he recovers.
Ugh, I would I were at home.
We'll lead you thither. I pray you, will you take him by the arm?
Be of good cheer, youth. You, man, you lack a man's heart.
I do. I confess it.
Come, you look paler and paler. Pray you draw homewards. Good sir, go with us.
As will I. For I must bear answer to how you excuse my brothers. Broken promise, Rosalind.
I will devise something.
Patience, gentle Audrey. We will find the time, Audrey.
But the old gentleman was good enough for all the old priests saying.
A most wicked Sir Oliver, a most vile Martext. But Audrey, there is a youth in this forest who lays claim to you.
I know who it is who you speak of. But he has no interest in me in all the world. Look, here comes the man you mean.
Well, is meat and drink to me to see a clown? We that have good wits have much to answer for.
Good evening, Audrey.
Good evening, William.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, gentle friend. Oh, prithee. No, cover thy head, prithee, be covered. How old are you, friend?
5 and 20, sir.
Oh, a ripe age. And thy name is, William.
William, sir.
Oh, a fair name. Wast born in the forest here?
Aye, sir. I thank God.
Oh, thank God. A good answer. Art rich?
Faith, sir. So.
Oh, so is good. Very excellent good, and yet it is not. It is but so. Art thou wise?
Aye, sir, I have a pretty wit.
Oh, thou sayest well. But I do remember a saying, a fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool. Do you love this maid?
Aye, sir.
And give me your hand. Art thou learned?
No, sir.
Then learn this of me. To have is to have, and therefore, clown, abandon, which in the vulgar is leave, the society which in the boorish is company of this female, which in the common is woman, which together is abandon the society of this female, clown, or thou perishest, or to thy better understanding, diest, or to wit, I kill thee. Make thee away. Translate thy life into death, thy liberty into bondage. I will kill you 150 ways. Therefore tremble and depart.
Do good, William.
God rest you merry, sir.
Yo! Your mistress and master called. Come, away.
Trip, Audrey.
Away!
I attend.
Is it possible that on so sudden occasion you should like her? That by seeing you should love her? And loving woo?
Call not the giddiness of it in question, but say with me, I love Aliena, and say with her she loves me. It will be to your good. For my father's house, and everything that was Sir Roland's will, I stayed upon you, and here live and die a shepherd.
You have my consent. Let your wedding be tomorrow, Thither I will invite the Duke and all his contented followers. Now go you. Prepare your Aliena. For look, here comes my Rosalind.
God save you, brother.
And you, fair sister.
Oh, Orlando, how it grieves me to see thee wear thy heart in a scarf.
This is my arm.
I thought thy heart had been wounded with the claws of the lion.
Wounded it is, but with the eyes of a lady.
Did your brother tell you how I, counterfeited to swoon when he showed me the bloody handkerchief?
Aye. Greater wonders than that.
'Tis true. For your brother and my sister no sooner looked but they loved. No sooner loved but they sighed. No sooner sighed but they asked one another the reason. No sooner knew the reason but they sought the remedy. And in these degrees have they built a pair of stairs to marriage, which they will climb incontinent or else be incontinent before marriage. They're in the very wrath of love and will together.
They will be married tomorrow. I will invite the Duke to the nuptial. But how bitter a thing it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes. By so much the more tomorrow will I be at the height of heart heaviness in thinking my brother happy and having what he wishes for.
Why then tomorrow I cannot serve your turn for Rosalind?
I can no longer live by thinking.
I will weary you then no more with idle talking. Believe then, if you will, that I can do strange things. I have, since I was 3 years old, conversed with a magician, most profound in his art, and yet not damnable. If you do love Rosalind, so near the heart as your gesture cries out, then tomorrow when your brother marries Aliena, so shall you marry her. I know into what straits of fortune she is driven, and it is not impossible to me to put her before you tomorrow, human as she is, and without any danger.
Speakest thou in sober meanings?
By my life I do, which I tender dearly, though I say I'm a magician. So put you in your best array. Bid your friends, for if you will be married tomorrow, you will. And to Rosalind.
Sweet youth, you have done me much ungentleness to show the letter that I writ to you.
You are here, Father, by a faithful shepherd. Look upon him. Love him. He worships you.
Good shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
Is to be all made of sighs and tears. And so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
Is to be all made of faith and service, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
Is to be all made of passion, all made of wishes, all humbleness, all patience and impatience, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you? If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
Who do you speak to? Why blame you me to love you?
She that is not here, nor doth not hear.
No more of this. I will help you if I can. I would love you if I could. Tomorrow meet me all together. I will marry you, if ever I married a woman. And I will be married tomorrow. I will content you, if what pleases you contents you, and you shall be married tomorrow. I will satisfy you, if ever I satisfied a man. You will be married tomorrow. As you love Rosalind, meet. As you love Phoebe, meet. And as I love no woman, I'll meet. You have your commands. Fare you well.
I shall not fail if I live.
Nor I.
All right. promise? My lord, I sometimes do believe and sometimes do not. As those that fear they hope and know they fear.
I do remember in this shepherd boy some lively touches of my daughter's favor.
My lord, when I first saw him, methought he was a brother to your daughter. But good my lord, this boy is forest born.
There sure is another flood torn, and all these couples are coming to the ark. Oh, there comes a pair of very strange beasts, which in all tongues are called fools.
Greetings and salutations to you all.
Good my lord, bid him welcome. This is the motley-minded gentleman that I've so often met in the forest. He has been a courtier, he swears.
Today is the joyful day, Audrey. Today will we be married.
Oh, and I do desire with all my heart, and I hope it isn't a deceitful desire to be a woman in the world. Oh, look, here comes a deuce page.
Well met, honest gentlemen.
Well met. Come, sit. And a song.
Here for you. Sit in the middle. Shall we clap into it roundly, without hawking, spitting, saying their horse, which are the only prologues to a bad voice?
Faith, both of the two, like two gypsies.
It was a lover and his lass, with a hay and a hoe and a hay. Now me know that o'er the green cornfield did pass. In the springtime, the only pretty ringtone, the birds do sing, a ding-a-ding-a-ding, sweet lovers of the spring, between the acres of the rye, with a hay and a hoe and a hay. Now they know this breezy country folks would laugh. In the springtime, beyond the pretty ringtone, the birds do sing, hey ding-a-ding-a-ding, sweet lovers of the spring, between the acres of the rye.
Truly, young people, though there was no great matter in the ditty, yet was the note very untunable. Oh.
You are deceived, sir. We kept time, we lost not our time.
By my troth, yes, and I consider it, but time lost to hear such a foolish song.
Then is there mirth in heaven, when earthly things made even atone together. Good Duke, receive thy daughter. Hymen from heaven brought her, yea, brought her hither, that you mightest join her hand in his, whose heart in his bosom is.
To you I give myself, for I am yours. To you I give myself, for I am yours.
If there be truth in sight, you are my daughter.
If there be truth in sight, you are my Rosalind.
If sight and shape be true, why then, my love, adieu.
I'll have no father if you be not he, nor no husband if you be not he, nor ne'er wed a woman if you be not she.
Peace, ho, I bar confusion. 'Tis I must make conclusion to these strange events. His hate that must take hands to join in Hymen's band, if truth hold true contents. You and you no cross shall part. You and you are heart in heart. You to his love must accord, or have woman to your lord. You and you are sure together as the winter to foul weather.
Oh, my dear niece, welcome thou art to me. Even daughter, welcome in no less degree.
I will not eat my words, now thou art mine. My faith and fancy to thee doth combine.
Let me have audience for a word or two. I bring these tidings to this fair assembly. Duke Frederick, to this wild wood he came, where meeting with an old religious man, after some question with him was converted, both from his enterprise and from the world. His crown bequeathing to his banished brother, and all their lands restored to them again that were with him exiled. That this be true, I do engage my life.
First, let us do those ends that here were well begun and well begot. Then, meantime, forget this new-fallen dignity and fall into our rustic revelry.
Sir, by your patience, if I heard you rightly, the Duke hath put on a religious life and sought into neglect the pompous court?
He hath.
To him will I. Out of these convertites, much matter can be heard and learned. You, to your former honor I bequeath. Your patience and your virtue well deserves it. You to a love that your true faith doth merit. You to your land and love and great allies. You to a long and well-deserved bed. And you to wrangling, for thy loving voyage is just for 2 months' victual. So all to your pleasures, I'm for other than for dancing measures.
Well, stay, Jaques, stay.
To see no pastime I, what you would have, I wait to know at your abandoned case.
Proceed, proceed. Let us begin these rites as we do trust they'll end in true delight. Yay!
Do you want a partner? Oh, partner. Do you want a partner? Let me say. Want a partner? Oh, partner. Do you want a partner?
To see the lady the epilogue, but it is no more unhandsome to see the lord the prologue. If it be true that good wine needs no bush, then a good play needs no epilogue. I agree. Yet, to good wine they do use good bushes, and good plays prove the better with the help of a good epilogue. What a case am I in then that am neither a good epilogue nor can insinuate with you on behalf of a good play. I'm not furnished like a beggar, therefore to beg will not become me. My way is to conjure you, and I'll begin with the women. I charge you, oh women, for the love you bear to men, to like as much of this play as please you. And I charge you, oh, men, for the love you bear to women, as I perceive by your simpering, none of you hates them, that between you and the women, this play may please. If I were a woman, I would kiss as many of you as have beards that please me, complexions that liked me, and breaths that defied me not. And I hope that as many of you as have good faces and good beards and sweet breaths will, for my kind offer, when I make curtsy, bid me farewell.
say, what about now? Oh, but now, do you what about now?
All right, we can do poetry at least as good as Orlando. Lovers and fools, shepherds and knaves, all for your pleasure have crossed the stage. Now we ask for some help from the depth of your pocket, and we'll be back next year just as you like it. Huzzah! Thank you for being here.
Partner, do you want a partner? Love me, say, what about now? Oh, partner, do you want a partner?
ये मोहब्बत उड़ता जा रे बेहिसाब तू दिल धड़क है ये मोहब्बत उड़ता जा रे बेहिसाब तू तेरा प्यार है